Hey guys, I'm back, and you can see I am taking a little foray into my woods because we are going to have fun with this. I realized I wanted to give it an actual try, and I never really tried it. So I've got that, I've got some 550 cord, got some 22 construction blanks in my pocket, and we're going to find a good place. We've got this little trail back here, so we're going to find a good place to set it up and just give it a little try, see how well it works, and hopefully have some fun. This looks like a good spot right here. This little area. Actually, that looks perfect. Look at those two trees. Sorry, the big close-up on my face. Got that tree and that tree across the trail. Perfect spot. Now, I'm not thinking as much campsite security as I am ambush, because that's how I think of things. But I love living here. It's gorgeous. So let's get things set up, shall we? So, okay, we want to secure this trail here, or at least give a warning if anybody's coming through. So I'm going to set this little guy up right here. I didn't bring anything to kind of bang it into the ground, so hopefully I'll be able to just push it into the ground really well. Yeah, that works. And there we go. So I'm going to do, of course, all the string tying before we load it up with something, because that would be dumb. Now, I get it. It's not very well hidden right here, and that's because I want the camera to see it. I want you guys to see it. And what I'm going to do is, actually, I could tie 550 cord straight to it. Is that visible? I was going to take the internal string out so that you would see a nice visible white string. But I could probably just tie the 550 cord straight to it, because it's got a wide enough hole. And again, right now we're not going for concealment, we're going for visibility so you guys can actually see what's going on. So we're just going to tie a simple knot in this thing right now. Very simple, just so that it holds. Okay. And we're gonna secure to this tree over here across the trail. Now, back in my scouting days, we had these rolls of OD green and brown and black, and I think one of them was even yellow, actual tripwire that we would use. Very thin, very hard to see, and very strong when we needed to make tripwires for things like claymores, landmines, or star cluster flares that we wanted to illuminate if somebody came by. We had that stuff, like military tripwire material, and it's pretty good. You can use it for all sorts of stuff. If I had any of that, I would be using it, but I don't. So you don't want this to be more than a foot off the ground, because that's too visible. You don't want it to be too low, because you don't want people to be able to step over it. So this is actually higher than I would want a tripwire to be, but I'm going to put it at this level so that it's easily caught. Oh, see? I just tripped it. I want it to be tripped easily when I walk through so that you guys can see it. Here's what it's going to be like. So I'm doing this a little non-traditional. I'm doing this to exaggerate as we make it go off. My fun in the woods knife today is this little ZT, the 0770 CF. We'll be using that for all of our fun cutting procedures. Okay, so we're just using not a 22 long blank, but this little construction size one. And it's not doing a great job of focusing here because I'm using my phone on one hand and I'm using the video camera on the other. So that we can get kind of two angles All right. This is such a great idea for somebody with rated PTSD to be doing. Awesome. But here's the trail. Here's my feet. And we're just walking along, and that was loud. That was louder than I thought it was going to be, and hopefully we caught that on the camera. We could show it in slow-mo. It works. It works very well. There is no way you are going to miss that, not hear that. Did it expand a little bit? It did. It expanded a little bit in that little chamber. I don't want to mess up my knife blade, and I didn't bring anything to get it out. So yeah, it expanded in that little chamber there. Had to wedge it out a little bit. So if you're reloading this, I don't know if a 22 long would work differently. That's why I wanted to use these little, construction size blanks first. Definitely loud. Definitely would get your attention. I mean, yes, we'll let you know something's there. That's kind of awesome. All right, so we know it works, and it works fairly well, very easily. I didn't have to trip this very hard at all to get that to move. So let's say you wanted to use this, though, to actually secure something, because if you take a look off in the distance there, you can see one of my red haunted barns and the house in the background. So what if I wanted to secure this trail and know that somebody's coming? Obviously, this would be a very poor positioning because people could see it. Things you would want to take into account would be the expected direction of travel, the expected skill or estimated skill of the enemy force you're dealing with. Now, if you're just trying to protect yourself from animals, this will be just fine. They probably won't know that. If I was actually trying to defend this trail from an approach this way, I obviously would not want to put that right there. I'd want to put it in the last place they would be able to see it. So from any line of approach over here, I probably would not put it behind the biggest tree because that might be somewhere they would expect to see it. I'd want to put it behind this smaller tree. I would also consider putting it at a 45-degree angle to the trail so that even if they're branched out a little bit, they might not see something that's directly behind the tree. So this would be a great location right there because I could then string my tripwire, obviously use a thin black wire a little bit lower to the ground, and I could then use some foliage or something around here to try to make that a little less visible. I also probably would not leave that in the single colored green. I would want to camouflage that up just a little bit with maybe some lighter green and a little bit of browns, just something to break up the outline of that so you can't see a single green element sticking up. So camouflaging your line is pretty easy. Again, lower down to the ground. Now, there's not that much of an option with where that is, but you can use some natural sticks and foliage to wrap that wire around and route it a little bit lower. What you don't want to do is you don't want to try to camouflage by covering it with things like that, because the natural instinct of somebody on patrol is to not step on this because it makes that kind of noise. So while you might think it's a great idea to camouflage your tripwire with a bunch of sticks and stuff, you're actually inviting people to not step anywhere near it. You want your tripwire as clear as possible. You don't want it to look like you just cleared off a trail for them, obviously, but you don't want it to be in a place where somebody is likely to avoid stepping because of the potential for booby traps underneath. This looks all kinds of suspicious. If I was coming down here, I wouldn't want to step on this because of the noise it makes and because of what might be underneath. So you obviously don't want to have a cleared trail. If they see this, they're going to say, why all of a sudden is this trail so clear? You want to make sure that your trail looks as much like the rest of the trail around it. Because there's so much leaf and ground cover, though, you can put a couple things here and there that might distract from the lines of your tripwire. Don't build it up to look differently from anything else around them. Take a look at everything else you're working with. They may step on something like this. They don't want to step on something like this. I don't know why I'm going into this military stuff here, but this is all just stuff I remember from the early days. If you're trying to camouflage your tripwire that you're wrapping around a tree like this is pretty clearly a dead tree. So if all of a sudden they see a bunch of green stuff like this piled around the base of a dead tree, anybody with any experience is going to say, that doesn't belong there. Why is all that green stuff suddenly growing around the base of what is quite obviously a dead tree? Or if they see a bunch of sticks piled up around the base of a dead tree, they're going to say, that doesn't belong there. How did that get there? So if you're going to use something like a dead tree as your base, you want to be careful. What works really well is to find a very firm kind of stick laying in the ground. Plant one stick in there that you can camouflage into other stuff and tie the end of your tripwire to that. But like, again, I used all this so it's very obvious to show you guys so you could see what was going on. And I'm just throwing in a couple little tidbits of what I remember from back in the day. I'm not advocating that you ambush anybody, but if you did want to secure, say, your land, and you have something like this, and your route to get to it, but yeah, this definitely works. A-OK test, and we got 2 of them in BattlBox. It's pretty cool. Now they make these, I've seen these in 12 gauge. I haven't seen them in many other rifle calibers, but I've seen 12 gauge ones, and these are 22. 22s are pretty damn loud. So you can imagine the 12 gauge ones are crazy. None of it compares to an M18A1 Claymore though, I'll tell you that. But yeah. So what do you guys think? Did anybody, now again, I made fun of these things in the original BattlBox video, but if you're in the time and place when you need them, they will work for you. I just don't know when I would actually need them, but I have them now. So, but you guys requested a real life trial of them. You wanted to see them work. Here's one working. Do you guys want to see one more? Want to see one more go off? So, who's got an opinion now? Who laughed at them like I did kind of initially, and now is like, not bad. Kind of cool, kind of works. You know, not everybody, I realize this, not everybody's always going to have a use for everything that comes in the box all the time. But it's nice to know that we can test these things and see that they work. And I love having all this playground now to test this stuff out in. So, I get to dig this one out too. But, I love the smell of rounds that have just gone off. Yeah. So, I hope this satisfied the viewer request to know how they work, that they can do stuff. What we didn't do is tie it to a tree. If you've got tree-borne animals, larger animals that might not trip it on the ground, yes, you can tie it, or you don't have anywhere to stick it into. You can tie it to a tree, secure it to a tree. It'll work exactly the same way. So, that was fun. Nice time out in the woods. I'll never argue with the time out in the woods. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to check all the cool links in the video description. My guys on Discord keep telling me to remind everybody to check the video description for a link to the Discord server and sign up. It's free. You get to chat with a bunch of guys. You get to hang out. We're going to be doing a Discord-only giveaway sometime in the near future. So that'll be fun. While you're at it, I guess YouTube has changed up their notification system. So I've been hearing a lot of people telling me they're not getting notifications to do videos. So make sure that if you're subscribed, that you check the notification icon and that it's set on all notifications if you're worried about missing anything. I feel like such a shill when I say stuff like that. Anyway, but also check the video description for links to Facebook, Instagram, where I post stuff now and then, and, you know, great way to get in touch with me is Facebook. My email address is, and of course, link to Patreon page. The Patreon guys are responsible bringing so much cool content to this page, more than you even know, and get some cool rewards for it. So you can check that out too. This is like a space gun. Pew pew. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna pew pew my way back to the house and get ready to do another cool video. Remember, you guys are all absolutely awesome. I appreciate every single one of you. Keep the video requests coming in. Again, send an email to the link in the video description, or get me on Facebook, all right there. You guys are all absolutely awesome. I appreciate every single one of you, and I will be back again real soon.